I was there the day the Empire learned fear. We had been told the campaign would be swift, almost ceremonial. Earth was a small blue world in a quiet spiral arm, far from the central trade routes, with no known military presence beyond crude orbital satellites. The High Command painted humans as a fragmented species, still clinging to outdated weapons that spat projectiles instead of plasma. The order came in the silver dawn of the third cycle, full planetary pacification. Occupy, subdue, extract resources. We thought it would be glorious. The invasion fleet was the largest I had ever seen, over 1,000 warships, dark as obsidian against the stars. They blotted out the sun as we entered Earth's orbit. Our dropships were armed, our fighters primed. The airwaves were silent except for the chatter of our own. No human broadcasts challenged us. No warning shots from the surface. High Command took their silence as fear. We began our descent. Through the visor of my helm, I saw the planet's oceans glitter, its continents painted in greens and browns. It looked peaceful, too peaceful. Our first wave of bombardments was authorized. Orbital cannons locked onto major cities: New York, Beijing, Moscow, Sao Paulo. I expected fire, panic, the spectacle of a species brought to heel. But the moment our targeting systems aligned, something impossible happened. Every screen went black. Every ship, from the smallest scout to the largest dreadnought, lost power in an instant. My fighter's controls froze, alarms blaring in every frequency I could hear. We thought it was a systems glitch, a freak coincidence. But then the dreadnought Vraethan's Pride, the flagship of our armada, simply vanished. One heartbeat it was there. The next, it was gone. No explosion. No debris. Just empty space where a vessel the size of a mountain had been. Panic rippled through the calm channels. Admirals shouted, engineers cursed, navigators prayed to gods that had never answered them before. And then, through the darkness, I saw them, shapes rising from Earth's surface. At first, I mistook them for skyscrapers, towers emerging from the clouds. But they kept climbing, impossibly tall, sleek, and angular. There were dozens of them, each the size of our largest battleships, but without any visible propulsion. They simply rose. Then, they turned toward us. A low vibration filled the void, felt more than heard. Our hull sensors registered nothing, but my bones ached as if the sound passed through me. The towers opened, revealing apertures that glowed with an energy I had never seen before, neither plasma, nor ion, nor laser. When they fired, reality itself seemed to bend. No beam, no missile, just space twisting into a thin black line that swallowed whatever it touched. A single shot erased an entire formation of cruisers. Dozens of ships, gone without wreckage, without flame. The calms were filled with screaming. Our fleet tried to scatter, but the humans, if they even were human at that point, did not chase. They didn't have to. Every shot found its mark as though the weapon knew where we would be. In the span of a minute, half our fleet was gone. High Command ordered retreat, but retreat to where? Hyperspace drives wouldn't engage. Our ships were blind, deaf, crippled. I watched as the destroyer beside me folded inward on itself, as if pulled into a singularity no larger than a coin. By the third minute, the fleet's structure collapsed entirely. Captains fled without orders. Squadrons disintegrated into chaos. But the humans didn't pursue us into deep space. They stopped at the edge of their atmosphere. I will never forget that moment, those black towers, silent and unyielding, simply lowering back into the clouds as if they had never existed. The sky closed over them, and Earth returned to its peaceful, indifferent blue. I survived only because my ship had been crippled in the first volley and drifted into the shadow of the moon. Our life support held long enough for me to limp into deep space. I was picked up weeks later by a salvage crew from the outer colonies. When they asked me what happened, I told them the truth. We never fought humans. We fought something they called upon. Maybe those towers were weapons they had built in secret, or maybe they were relics from something older, something that chose to protect them. I don't know. All I know is this: if the humans want peace, give it to them. If they want silence, stay silent. Because when Earth wakes its guardians, nothing survives. And the High Command will never admit it, but the invasion didn't last a day. It lasted 7 minutes. For centuries, the Galactic Empire had expanded without resistance. World after world bent the knee, their defenses crushed under the weight of fleets that spanned continents. Empires had fallen, species had been erased, and never once had the Empire encountered an enemy it could not crush. Until they looked toward Earth. On the grand holomap in the Imperial War Council chamber, the blue and green planet looked insignificant, another mark to be claimed, another resource well to be drained. Imperial intelligence officers assured the Council that humanity was fractured into countless nations, bound by petty politics and outdated weapons. There were no planetary shields, no hyperspace artillery, and certainly nothing capable of withstanding a fleet of the Empire's size. The decision was unanimous: Operation Iron Talon, a full-scale invasion. Over 1,000 ships departed from Imperial dockyards. Dreadnoughts that could split moons, carriers that could blot out the sun, swarms of fighters enough to turn the sky into a swarm of black steel. The invasion force was commanded by Grand Admiral Sarix, a man whose record was flawless and whose confidence bordered on arrogance. "This will be over in hours," he told his staff. "The humans won't even know what hit them." When the fleet arrived in Earth's orbit, they expected chaos. Instead, they were met with silence. The planet did not raise shields, it had none. Its cities continued to glow with the lights of night, traffic patterns uninterrupted. The only signals picked up were civilian broadcasts, music, chatter, news reports of local weather systems. Sarix found it amusing. The first order was given: target major population centers, fire upon warning. The dreadnought Emperor's fist locked onto New York. The Iron Maw targeted Beijing. Batteries of orbital plasma cannons began their charge cycles. The countdown to the first strike began. 10 seconds. 9. And then the fleet's targeting arrays went dark. All of them. Not disabled, erased. Navigation systems followed. Then communications. In less than 2 seconds, the entire armada was blind. Emergency protocols. "Restore," Sarix began, but his voice was drowned by the alarms. Ship after ship began to vanish from the holomap, not destroyed, not drifting, simply gone. Then the humans spoke. A transmission cut through every frequency, perfectly clear, in flawless Imperial standard. "You came here uninvited. You came here armed. This was your only warning." From Earth's surface, massive structures began to rise, sleek, towering spires of black metal, as if the ground itself had been holding its breath. There were dozens, maybe hundreds, each taller than the tallest Imperial superstructure, their surfaces alive with patterns of shifting light. The Empire had no record of such technology. It was not on their scans. It should not have been possible for something of that scale to exist without detection. The spires tilted, their tips glowing with a dull, impossible light that seemed to pull at the space around it. And then they fired. It was not plasma. It was not laser. It was not any weapon the galaxy had seen before. There was no beam, no projectile, only a ripple, as though reality itself shuddered. Wherever that ripple touched, ships ceased to exist. Entire wings of destroyers blinked out without so much as a puff of debris. The humans had named them Event Horizon Cannons, weapons capable of collapsing matter at the quantum level, erasing it from existence. The Empire's armada lasted less than 5 minutes. Some ships tried to flee, but hyperspace drives failed the moment they attempted the jump. Others fired in desperation, but their weapons fizzled uselessly against the unseen barrier surrounding Earth. Every Imperial countermeasure was rendered obsolete in an instant. Admiral Sarix, watching his fleet vanish piece by piece, realized the truth: humanity had never been weak. They had been hiding. Biding their time. Waiting for the galaxy to come to them. When only a fraction of the fleet remained, crippled carriers, scattered frigates, the firing stopped. The black spires turned away, their glow dimming, and began sinking back into the clouds. The surviving ships drifted in stunned silence. Then a final transmission arrived, broadcast directly to the Imperial capital. "We are not your subjects. Do not return. It was signed, simply, Earth Defense Network. When the survivors limped back to the Empire's territory, their reports were met with disbelief. Imperial propaganda blamed an experimental supernova weapon. They claimed victory had been delayed, not denied. But those who had been there, they knew the truth. Earth had weapons that could unmake fleets in moments. And they had chosen not to pursue the retreating survivors. It wasn't mercy. It was a warning. From that day forward, Imperial fleets avoided the Sol system entirely. Star charts labeled the sector with a single word, forbidden. And somewhere on that small blue planet, the black spires still slept, waiting for the day someone else would be foolish enough to wake them. Log entry: Captain Ral Varin, Deep Space Survey Vessel Horizon's Wake. Date: Cycle 744, Galactic Standard. We weren't looking for trouble. We were mapping the outer sectors, charting debris fields and forgotten battle zones left over from the Empire's conquests centuries ago. The Sol system was marked as unstable, no entry on every official star chart. No one in their right mind went there. But I have never been accused of being in my right mind. We dropped out of hyperspace just beyond Neptune's orbit, and immediately, our sensors screamed. There were readings of mass so dense it warped gravitational vectors, coming from near Earth's orbit. My crew thought it was an asteroid cluster. It wasn't. It was a graveyard. Hundreds, no, thousands of alien warships, frozen in silent orbit around Earth. Some were shattered in two, their hulls split cleanly as though cut by a blade of light. Others looked perfectly intact but were utterly dead, no power, no life signs, their surfaces coated in centuries of micrometeor dust. The transponder codes matched Imperial designations. Every single wreck was from the same fleet. We thought the sight alone was terrifying, but then we checked the timestamps. They all died in the same minute. Every single one. The official records say the Empire's full invasion of Earth happened a century ago, but no one knows how it ended. No survivors ever spoke of it publicly, and the Empire erased all mention of the battle from their archives. Now, looking at the wrecks drifting in orbit, I could feel why. We took the Horizon's Wake closer, threading through the graveyard. I stared out the viewport at the remains of ships that had once been nightmares to entire civilizations. Here, they were nothing more than cold, lifeless shells. And Earth. Earth just floated below, untouched. It was beautiful oceans glittering, continents glowing with the faint pulse of city lights. No scars of orbital bombardment, no planetary shields flickering in the atmosphere. Just a quiet blue world, as if the battle had never happened. That was the moment I knew they hadn't survived the invasion. They had ended it. Our ship's historian pieced together what little we could from the Imperial wreckage. It painted a picture more chilling than I could have imagined. The Empire had arrived with overwhelming force, over 1,000 ships, enough to sterilize a planet in hours. They had expected an easy victory. The humans didn't even scramble fighters. Instead, the first shot came from Earth itself. They say the planet's surface opened, revealing vast structures hidden deep beneath, structures older than any recorded human city, hidden in oceans, buried under mountains, sleeping in deserts. The Empire mistook them for primitive megastructures. Then they fired. Not missiles. Not beams. Something else. Entire ships vanished, their matter erased so completely that even their gravitational signatures were gone. In 7 minutes, the invasion force was gone. And then, this is the part one still can't wrap my head around, the humans let the survivors go. Not many made it, but the ones who did fled so fast they never returned. Not in 100 years. Not even to salvage their dead. One of my crew asked me the question we were all thinking. Why didn't they finish them? The answer came to me as we scanned the planet one last time before leaving. Our sensors caught a faint energy signature from somewhere deep in Earth's crust. There they were, those same colossal structures, dormant again, their power cores cooling. They weren't destroyed. They weren't dismantled. They were sleeping. Earth hadn't finished the Empire because they didn't need to. The point wasn't annihilation. It was deterrence. A message. Come here again, and the giants will wake. When we left the Sol system, I updated our star charts myself. The old warning unstable, no entry wasn't enough. I renamed it. One word, in every language I could think of. Forbidden. And in my private captain's log, the entry you're hearing now, I left this note for any foolhardy soul who might ignore the warnings. If you value your life, your crew, your entire species, stay away from Earth. Do not disturb the quiet. Because the humans do not fight like the rest of us. They do not conquer. They do not invade. They endure. They watch. And when the time comes, they erase. And once they've done it, they go back to sleep. Waiting for the next arrogant fleet to think they're easy prey. That's the thing about sleeping giants. They aren't dangerous because they're awake. They're dangerous because one day, they will be. End log.